सब लोगों ने आग्रह किया, जनता दल के लोगों ने भी आग्रह किया कि आपके नाम पर वोट मिला है, आपके नाम पर हम लोगों ने मिलकर चुनाव लड़ा है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी का मार्गदर्शन और नीतीश कुमार जी का नेतृत्व, तो बाद में वो तैयार हो गए।
ये गठबंधन की जो राजनीति है उसके लिए अच्छा साइन नहीं।
एक तरफ अरुणाचल में आपके विधायक तोड़ लिए आते हैं, साथ में 6, और आपके लोग प्रतिकार तक नहीं करते। और ये बेबसी और लाचारी कम से कम बिहार के किसी कद्दावर राजनेता में तो हमने नहीं देखी।
You're watching News Epicenter with me, Marya Shakil. Bihar continues to be a political thriller even after the assembly elections, with Nitish Kumar dropping a bombshell after quitting as the JDU chief. During the JDU's national executive meeting, Nitish Kumar said that he had no desire to be chief minister and he had to take up the post due to immense pressure. The Bihar chief minister, who's known for his shifting political equations, said that people say that the BJP wants the chief minister's post and he no longer feels attached to that position. His statement came amidst increasing tensions within the National Democratic Alliance following the decision of 6 JDU MLAs in Arunachal Pradesh to leave the party and join the BJP. The JDU leadership expressed displeasure over the political developments in Arunachal Pradesh and stressed that it is not a good sign for alliance politics, but maintained that the Arunachal episode will have no bearing on Bihar's politics as there is no dispute in its alliance government in the state. The RJD-led opposition has trained its guns at the NDA government in Bihar, accusing Nitish Kumar of allowing the BJP to cripple and wipe out the JDU. At the same time, both the Congress and the RJD maintain that Nitish should keep communication lines open with the opposition. There have been tensions in the Bihar NDA ever since the BJP became the big brother in this alliance, appointing 2 deputy chief ministers and even taking the speaker's position in the assembly. The move in Arunachal Pradesh has put more pressure on this alliance, prompting in fact Nitish Kumar to send a clear message to the BJP. After snapping ties with the BJP in 2013 and then the JDU doing poorly in the assembly elections next year, in fact the Lok Sabha elections in 2014, his calculations went awry and we know that Nitish picked Jitan Ram Manjhi for the chief minister's post, then took him out of the equation and went on to ally with the RJD in 2015. 2 years later, he ditched the RJD and joined hands with the BJP again, but now is faced with a saffron party that is calling the shots on his turf and even going beyond Bihar. So the big question emerges from this, the development that are happening in Bihar. What is Nitish Kumar's next move? And is he now a reluctant chief minister? Joining me on the show, Abhishek Jha is the spokesperson of the JDU, Guru Prakash, spokesperson of the BJP, Sabha Naqvi, senior journalist. We'll also be joined by RJD spokesperson in just a bit. Sabha, as a political analyst who watches Bihar closely, why is Nitish Kumar giving this impression and generating this image of being a reluctant chief minister?
I think, Marya, when you are stabbed in the back by your friends as opposed to frontal by an enemy, I don't even think it's Arunachal. I have made my calls. I think the manner in which the section of the Bharatiya Janata Party propped up Chirag Paswan that damaged him, he knows all that. The way the narrative has come that Nitish Kumar is helpless, that Nitish Kumar is now just a token for the BJP and the BJP can manage it, he's calling their bluff. I also think that appointing another chief minister, that too, Mr. Singh is actually from his same caste. He's a very trusted person of Nitish Kumar, enables him as chief minister and party president. He cannot go on criticizing the BJP. He has freed himself from the burden of the party can now openly criticize the BJP, because the BJP at a time when there is this farmer stir, when so many allies have left them. In the past, Shiv Sena left them, the Akalis have walked out on them. They can't afford to lose Nitish Kumar. Let's understand this. No matter how smartly they may have played their cards in Bihar, in the end, they need Nitish Kumar to run the government. So I think Nitish, I don't think he's leaving the government right now. I think he's made some actually very deft moves to have another president who will say all the critical things about the Bharatiya Janata Party. I am sure he's not happy about what's happened.
But will RCP actually be doing so? Sabha, given the kind of equation that RCP Singh enjoys with the BJP leadership.
But hasn't he already done so? Haven't they already done so? They have already said things. Within a few days of being appointed, they have already said this. And the suggestion that he wants to give up, you know, I mean, he was humiliated in the course of the Bihar campaign. He got the chair. I think these are moves to get back his dignity. I don't think.
So right Nitish Kumar now is trying to get back his dignity. Abhishek Jha, जब नीतीश कुमार ने 43 एमएलएस के साथ चीफ मिनिस्टर का पोजीशन एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, ये जानते हुए भी कि भाजपा को 74 एमएलएस आए थे, तो उनको तो ये पता होना चाहिए था कि इस तरह का होगा ही. तो नया क्या हो रहा है बिहार अलायंस में?
See, Nitish Kumar is not mentioning something which is very new. He just expressed his views in the National Council meeting of our party JDU. He just mentioned the fact that after the election results, he was quite sure of the fact that he was not willing to become the chief minister of Bihar, but it was the due pressure of the leaders and the top leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party that resulted into the conclusion that he has to take oath as the chief minister of Bihar. And we strongly also believe that earlier the top leadership of BJP, including the Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi ji and Shri Amit Shah ji, they all mentioned that NDA is going to fight on the face of Mr. Nitish Kumar, and whatever be the results, whosoever gets more seats or less seats, it's not the matter.
No,
Nitish Kumar will be the next chief minister of Bihar.
But Abhishek, the fact is
also
that it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi who won Bihar for the NDA and then nominated Nitish Kumar as the chief minister.
We fought like an alliance, and in that there were four parties: BJP, JDU, Hum, and VIP party. And the main thing was one cannot conclude the fact that the win of NDA is whole and sole due to a single party or due to a single factor. As you can see earlier,
so you
also,
are saying Prime Minister Modi was not the factor in these elections. Are you saying that?
Nitish Kumar was still the most acceptable face as the chief ministerial candidate.
But I'm trying to understand. I have spoken to a lot of leaders in the BJP, JDU and other parties. I'm trying to understand. So are you saying then, who decides the popularity? Who decides the popularity? Are you forgetting the numbers? When you contest on the equal number of seats, it's very clear. Out of 115 seats that you contested, the JDU won 43. BJP contested on 110, they won 74. Look at the Lok Sabha elections. 17 on 17 for the BJP, JDU won 16 out of 17. It is the Modi factor that won NDA for Bihar. That is the reality. Can you just completely brush it under the carpet?
See, no, I'm not brushing it. We cannot compare the results of Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha.
Okay, we have to not compare that also.
Okay, fine. In the Lok Sabha elections, we were quite near to the BJP's strike rate, but in the
Guru Prakash,
Vidhan Sabha
I'm coming to you, Abhishek, in just a bit. Guru Prakash,
state,
you know the fact is that Nitish Kumar had signalled his exit in November itself. On the last day of Bihar poll campaigning, he had said, "Ye mera antim chunav hai," that this is my last election. Then why did the BJP insist on him becoming a chief minister? And if they indeed did?
No, Maria, I think the media and a section of opposition is reading too much into the Arunachal episode. Let me tell you very clearly at the very outset that there were 7 departures, 6 from the JDU and 1 from the People's Party of Arunachal. And the 6 MLAs from the JDU were initially in the Bharatiya Janata Party. So it was a sort of a homecoming for them, a ghar wapsi for them, as reported by our senior leader, Mr. Tapir Gao in Arunachal Pradesh. And you are reading too much into it and creating unnecessary controversy. We are at a very strong footing. Our leadership has time and again asserted faith in the credentials of Mr.
You know
Nitish
what has
Kumar.
happened in Bihar.
His
Who
track
is
record.
saying what? Why would Nitish Kumar all of a sudden give up his position as the JDU chief, anoint RCP Singh? The reading of Sabha is very well correct, that what he cannot say, he will make Mr. RCP Singh speak about it. For example, the position that they have taken on the issue of love jihad.
No, you see, Maria, our relationship is almost 2.5 decades old, and we have that level of maturity. Like once, even in any relationship, you are there for 25 years with each other, you know the pluses, minus, and you have the maturity and the dexterity in having different opinion as well. But for the larger interest of Bihar, for issues, challenges, opportunities that we want to create in Bihar, it's very important, and we have been on a very solid footing. Our relationship, our alliance is as strong as ever, and you would see that for the next 5 years, and even beyond that, Nitish ji is going to be the face of NDA in Bihar.
Okay, let me bring now that sound bite, because I think that sound bite should have been the message to the BJP as much as we were reading it during the election sabha, when Nitish Kumar said, "Ye mera antim chunav hai." I'll ask my producer to play that sound button, and then I'm going to go to sabha.
और जान लीजिए, आज चुनाव का आखिरी दिन है, अब परसों चुनाव है, और ये मेरा अंतिम चुनाव है। अंत भला तो सब भला।
Ant bhala to sab bhala. Sabha, here is the Chief Minister of 15 years. He has been a union minister, serving the railways and agriculture portfolio also for 5 years. He has been in power in all for 20 years. He is also one of the longest serving chief ministers of a Hindi belt state. When that soundbite was given, when he said that during an election rally, it was being seen as a trump card or a last card, whatever you may call it. Now Nitish Kumar has done some calculation. I would say that can it be seen as an act of renunciation, or why is he hinting at renunciation?
I think again, Marya, I repeat, what will happen if he steps aside? There is no other leader who can replace him right now. He could have. I don't think that's the intention. Look, I think that what happened with Chirag Paswan, insulting him day in and day out, with the BJP leadership refusing to rein him in, RSS, if I was a human being and this happened to me within my own family, you know, within a family or a joint family, I would not forget that in a hurry. If I had any dignity, how Chirag Paswan was used, no matter whether Paswan came out with anything to attack Nitish Kumar within the NDA alliance, is the cause of this heartburn. He humiliated him day in and day out. So I think Nitish is just asserting the point. So whatever it is, what will you do without me if I go away? And I think the tactics, I completely believe he has put someone else as the president, so that day in and day out that person can remind the BJP of the reality that the JDU is a distinct party. And when he says renunciation, he's also saying, I'm not clinging on to power. When someone says they don't want anything,
no, but why would anybody believe that, Sabha? Didn't he cling on to the power when he walked out of alliance with the RJD, and instead of seeking a fresh mandate, he went on and formed another alliance with the BJP?
I agree with you. I agree with you. So right now, there are possibilities that Nitish has just opened up the game a little bit. And he, like I said, he's trying to get his dignity back because of what...
I'm just trying to understand that it was very clear, Abhishek, even during the course of the election, that because Chirag Paswan's LJP was contesting specifically against the JDU candidates, an estimate is roughly 30 to 35 seats the JDU lost because of this confusion on those seats. Chirag was a proxy. You can say that he was of the BJP or otherwise. The message from the BJP leadership or the state unit was not clear to him. He went on to take on Nitish Kumar, was openly taking on the chief minister, going to the extent of saying कि मैं उनको जेल में डाल दूंगा. Abhishek, help me understand. If Chirag was known to be someone who has been propped up by the BJP, then what did Nitish Kumar do then? And why did he continue to be the chief minister then?
See, Marya, I wanted to mention that point when earlier you asked me a question, but you switched on to the BJP spokesperson. We do not want to go to the conversation that BJP did what and what was their expression. We just repeated the statement of the top leadership of BJP very well, that they had
But will you
mentioned
accept
it
that you
very
lost
clearly.
35 seats because
That
of Chirag
whosoever is
Paswan?
not willing to accept, please let me complete.
No, just
Please let me
accept
complete.
that.
Please let
No,
me complete.
आप
Give me
अपना
30
numbers
seconds.
बताइए.
60
35
seconds
सीट पर
uninterrupted,
35
please.
सीट पर क्या did you lose? Did you
See,
lose
we
it
had
because
mentioned,
of
we had
Chirag?
mentioned that I could not hear you. I could not hear you.
I'm saying I have
I could not hear you.
statistics from the LJP where they say clearly and categorically कि ये सब सीट पर हम लोगों की वजह से JDU हारी है. तो क्या आप लोगों ने ये इशू रेज किया था बीजेपी के साथ?
Marya, the entire Bihar has witnessed the negative politics of Chirag Paswan and LJP. Just let me complete my point. That earlier the top leadership of BJP, whether it be in state or be it in center, had made it very clear that whosoever is not willing to accept Nitish Kumar as the face of NDA in Bihar cannot be the part of NDA in the state of Bihar. But what did LJP and specifically Chirag Paswan do? They just hired candidates from other parties, they borrowed candidates, and they strictly fought election against the seats where JDU was contesting, and they served as the so-called vote katwas, and that's why we lost around 35
Most of
seats.
them were from the BJP.
If this would have happened,
They were
our
BJP
number would
rebels.
be around 75 or 80. Then the question you asked that the number is not up to the mark of BJP.
They were BJP
or
rebels.
Nitish Kumar,
मृत्युंजय
the
जी,
mandate is not from Mr.
नीतीश
Kumar.
कुमार को क्यों
These
invite
questions
कर रहे हैं
would not
बार-बार
have
तेजस्वी
arised.
यादव?
But
नहीं, हम लोग इनवाइट क्यों करेंगे? हम लोग
न्योता भेज रहे हैं बार-बार आप लोग.
नहीं, हम लोग तो इन लोगों का खेल देख रहे हैं. इन्होंने जनादेश को शासनादेश से पलट दिया. जनता ने जो बदलाव परिवर्तन के लिए दिया वोट, उसका तो अपहरण कर लिया. अब तो जेडीयू के तीर से ही बीजेपी ने जेडीयू को घायल किया है. अब जेडीयू के लोग गाना गा रहे हैं, ऐसा तीर चला मेरे दिल पर जिसकी मार सही ना जाए. ये तो अपने सहयोगी दलों को नहीं छोड़ा बीजेपी ने. अब तो आहत है, जो आघात पहुंचाया है जेडीयू को, उससे अब उबर पाना जेडीयू के बस की बात नहीं है.
तो कैसा तीर
अच्छा
चला है?
दिया तूने मेरे प्यार का यार, नहीं लूट लिया घर यार.
चलिए
यही
गुरु
तो गाना
प्रकाश,
जेडीयू के कल मीटिंग में
I'm
सब लोग
happy
गा
that
रहे
we
थे.
are ending this
हमें
year
बहुत
in a
आहत
very, very poetic note and also with lot of song as well. Guru, respond.
नहीं, हम लोग
I don't know, मृत्युंजय
देखिए,
जी
जेडीयू के साथ जो बीजेपी कर
बड़े
रही
भाई की
है,
तरह हैं और आप
ये
देखिए
तो-
मृत्युंजय जी, आप लोगों को तो आत्ममंथन करना चाहिए. मुझे लगता है जो आपके राष्ट्रीय
क्या?
अध्यक्ष हैं तेजस्वी यादव जी प्रेरणा ले रहे हैं राहुल गांधी जी से. राहुल गांधी जी छुट्टी में इटली निकल जाते हैं अपने पार्टी के फाउंडेशन डे कार्यक्रम के दिन. आपके पार्टी के नेता गायब रहते हैं. तो आप लोग
देखिए,
थोड़ा
ये
आत्ममंथन
सब
करिए. जितना
बात जो
फोकस आप लोग
है,
हमारे और
ये
जेडीयू
जो
के
हमारे
गठबंधन पे कर रहे
विरोधी-
हैं,
देखिए,
इतना
ये
फोकस
सब
यदि आप लोग अपने
जनता
संगठन को
के
बनाने में
मुद्दे की
करिएगा
बात
तो
कीजिए
इससे
ना.
आपको
ये
लाभ
सबसे
होगा.
बड़ा सवाल
और हम
है
लोग भी
कि आप
चाहते हैं
लोग
कि
के
एक सक्रिय
साथ
विपक्ष हो
प्रॉब्लम
बिहार
ये
में.
है
सवाल जवाब
कि
करिए और
जनता के
सक्रिय
मुद्दे
विपक्ष
को
की
लेकर
भूमिका
तेजस्वी
निभाइए.
यादव जिस
ऐसी मेरी
सड़क से लेकर
शुभकामनाएं
सदन
आपके
तक
साथ
लड़ रहे हैं, वो
हैं
नहीं
नववर्ष
दिखता है
में.
आपको. अगर वो जान रहे हैं कि उनके ऊपर मुकदमा है, वो दिल्ली की राजधानी में किसान आंदोलन चल रहा है, उसको हमारा समर्थन है. वो बहुत तरह के काम हैं, वो हमारे पार्टी का नेतृत्व करता है. लेकिन ये लोग जो सत्ता में है,
नहीं
इनको
देखिए,
अगर
अरे
इनसे
अब
सवाल
स्वीकार
पूछिए तो
करिए
ये
इस बात
कहेंगे
को
तेजस्वी
मृत्युंजय जी.
यादव
स्वीकार
कहाँ?
करिए
तेजस्वी
आपके
यादव
नेतृत्व
कहाँ?
Guru,
आपके
one
तेजस्वी
point
यादव
can
कहाँ
be
है?
also-
तेजस्वी यादव जी बहुत
मृत्युंजय
सीखते
जी,
हैं राहुल
रुकिए.
गांधी जी से. छुट्टी
चलिए,
मनाने
अब मुझे
चले जाते
सवाल
हैं राहुल
पूछने
जी
दीजिए.
मिलान.
आप लोग ने बात
तेजस्वी
कर
जी
ली
दिल्ली
आपस
निकल
में
जाते
बहुत.
हैं. थोड़ा आत्ममंथन
Okay,
करिए.
Guru Prakash, come in on this.
हमको
Why
आत्ममंथन क्या
did it
करेंगे?
take for a
चिंतन
Sushil
मंथन तो
Modi,
जेडीयू कर रही है
who's
ना.
known to have a
उनको
good
तो
equation with
बीजेपी ने
Nitish
घात किया
Kumar,
ना भाई.
to come
उनके
and
सहयोगी दल है
calm
बीजेपी ने,
tempers
उनका
on both the
नुकसान
sides?
पहुंचाया. आप हमसे सवाल
You know,
कर
it
रहे
was because of
इसमें
Sushil Modi's
RJD का
statement
क्या
this
दोष है?
morning that it is, Nitish Kumar was pleaded by the JDU, by the BJP, by the VIP party, and also by Jitan Ram Manji, and that is the reason finally he agreed. Finally, it took
Marya, I
Sushil
would like
Modi,
to
right?
reiterate my position.
You did not field any of the
No,
deputy
no.
chief ministers, knowing fully well the kind of equation that Sushil Modi enjoys with Nitish. And if anything, he can only pacify Nitish Kumar.
No, Marya, let me reiterate my point again that our alliance, our relationship is at a very strong footing. Our focus is on creating Atmanirbhar Bihar, and whatever discussion, whatever deliberation has gone into the National Council meeting of JDU, it is their own business, and it would not be appropriate for us to comment on that. Whatever decision would be taken at the end of the National Convention of the JDU, we'll see to it. But as far as the new president is concerned, our top leadership has welcomed him, and we look forward to working constructively with him as well.
Okay. So, Abhishek, क्या कोई यू टर्न की तैयारी हो रही है?
See, there's nothing like a U-turn or kind of thing. Our very senior leader KC Tyagi has mentioned it very clearly that whatever happened in Arunachal Pradesh, we have strong grief for it, but it is not going to affect the shape of the coalition of the NDA in Bihar or on the national level. It's just like
No, but he talked about alliance dharma.
the leaders
Is
of
this alliance
Arunachal
dharma
Pradesh,
that your
but
MLAs
I could
are
not hear
taken
you.
away by your ally?
See, we had a point that
Marya, can I
BJP
come
could
in on
not
that
have
question?
found out so supportive leaders of opposition, just like in Arunachal Pradesh. They could have formed a coalition with JDU at that in that state, and they could have made ministers out of our MLAs. But our MLAs joined BJP. Our entire party in the National Council meeting expressed some grief about it. But I would like to make it very clear that it would not hamper the shape of the coalition in Bihar.
Guru.
So there's nothing like U-turn kind of thing. So it is just some kind of cooked up story.
No, Marya.
but
You
we
know,
are
Guru, I have been
ending up
speaking to some
in
people,
forming a very
some
strong
leaders
coalition
very
in
close
Bihar.
to Nitish Kumar, and they spoke about 2 points. First, about the alliance dharma, which seems to have clearly upset them, and Mr. KC Tyagi was pretty vocal about it. The other one is about very absurd situation which emerged out of the numbers finally, the results in 2020 assembly. That on one hand, one alliance partner does phenomenally well, has a strike rate of 70%, and on the other one falters so badly that his numbers go down. What kind, and hence the message that Chirag Paswan, if anything, was some kind of, on this chessboard of Bihar, was propped up just to humiliate Nitish Kumar. And that is something that the JDU is not convinced, no matter how much your state leaders may have said that Chirag was a vote katua or whatever. You have to pacify Nitish. Is the BJP looking at pacifying Nitish? Because he is now saying, I am reluctant. I do not want to continue. I have had enough. I have had a long inning, and if anything, I am 70-year-old.
That is his
Nitish
personal
Kumar has
decision,
not
but
said
let
that
me
he is
tell you very
reluctant to
clearly
continue.
that
He
the
just
decision
mentioned
that has
that
been
after
taken
the
by
election
the
results,
decision that has been
he
taken by the
expressed his
MLAs
views,
of
he
Arunachal
expressed his
Pradesh.
views to,
Go ahead, Guri.
the top leadership of BJP.
Guru
that he
Prakash,
does
please,
not
on,
want to become
on the screens. Yes. Abhishek, you have made your point. I'll give the final words to Sabha.
You see, Marya, the decision that has been taken by the MLAs of Arunachal Pradesh of Janata Dal United, are they constitutionally barred from taking that decision? No. Is there any sort of restriction from the Election Commission to take that decision? No. So they have taken that decision in their full autonomy. They have their authority to shift their allegiances and look for better political alternatives. If they want to pursue their political aspiration with a national political party, I really see no harm. And our leadership have time and again asserted that it will have no implications on the texture and the nature of alliance in the other states and nationally as well. We look forward to working together in a positive and a constructive manner and realize the promises that we have made in our manifesto of jobs, public health, infrastructure, and creating Atmanirbhar Bihar in the next 5
Sabha gets
years.
the final words. Sabha, does Nitish Kumar really have that political capital anymore to make another switch?
I think in politics, people always have the capacity, Marya, to reinvent themselves. Frankly, we always write off people and then they somehow come back. We've also seen that happening. And he's been around for a long time. He's a very shrewd player. He's done many switches and turns. And I mean, what will the BJP do if he walks out? Now, either they can absorb his entire party. That effort, I mean, they can try and absorb all the MLAs to make it a BJP government. The BJP has been known to do similar things in, they've got governments in Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka by absorbing MLAs. They have unlimited resources. They managed to cut their own ally to size in Bihar to ensure that they were the larger party by propping up. I mean, you can say Chirag was an independent. Where is Chirag now? What did he get out of it? Why did he do what he did? He used stronger words against Nitish Kumar than the RJD used.
That's right.
I mean, those are realities. He used more abusive language against him than the opposition party.
That's
used.
a fact.
So these are the things. So we don't know. I don't think Nitish is going to leave right now. I think he's going to watch. what happens. There's going to be a parliament session, presumably sometime in late January. There is a problem. The BJP cannot afford to lose another ally at this point, no matter how strong they are, even though there is no national opposition, with the Congress dissipating, they still cannot, So that, I mean, it's I think at this moment, even a small
What does a
player,
Nitish Kumar bring on this alliance?
he gets the numbers, Marya, right now. Like I'm saying, unless they absorb all his MLAs and dump him, and then they make one of their own. But what Nitish could do, I mean, it could be maybe he wants Sushil Modi back in Bihar as the deputy. There could be, he also has a bargaining position right now. Maybe he wants that back. So they've had a fantastic working relationship. It's a known thing.
Yes.
So it's just one of those bargaining things. And that is why from now on, at least one thing we are certain of, the new president and the leadership of the JDU will take more oppositional positions on to show that they are a distinct party from the BJP. They're going to do that more and more. That, I think, has become very clear.
Okay, so this could very well be Nitish Kumar in that decision of giving up the post of the JDU is now positioning someone who will be speaking his mind, speaking Nitish Kumar's mind, while not thinking about the alliance dharma anymore. Sabanakwi, thank you so much for joining us. Guru Prakash and Abhishek Jam, Mrityunjay Tiwari as well. Of course, Bihar is one story that continues to surprise us all the time. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.